Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where we're going to be talking about pull plans for next month's content that is dropping to global DFFOO. So let me know down in the comments section below what your pull plans are going to be with the upcoming banners that is going to be dropping in global. And of course, if you guys do enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future Opera Omnia content. So we're going to start off with the upcoming BT pairs that is going to be dropping later tonight as I'm recording this video, which is going to be the Kyrian and Von banners. Now with that, Arciela and General Leo are going to be the featured LDs for those banners. Now I already have Von's BT or his entire kit, and I already have Arciela's LD weapon, so that free multi is pretty much just going to be power stones for me. On the Kyrian and General Leo banner, I do want to get General Leo's LD weapon. It's going to be very nice to have that additional fixed damage on top of future units that are going to have the same mechanic that he does, so I definitely want to pick up his LD weapon again like I did in JP. And then with Kyrian I never BT plus in JP. I did manage to get his BT in one of the banners during his synergy cycle, but I never actually greened him. But I know based off of some of the other JP players that I know and some videos that I have seen, like Kyrian is a very solid character. For those who may have missed out on Ramza, Kyrian is a good replacement for Ramza. Now I know that Ramza and Kyrian do different things. I mean, they do have some slight similarities, but there are some differences between both of them. But if you are needing a character that is somewhat similar to Ramza, then he is a good choice to pick up. So I am going to go in with tickets and in hopes of getting General Leo's LD weapon with tickets. And I believe I do have the BT tokens to be able to go ahead and pick them up with tokens, because I believe I have some tokens that may be expiring soon, so I gotta use up those tokens somewhere. So I'm wanting to get him, and I will green him immediately and you know, do my showcase and all that good stuff. So Von, I'm gonna hold off on greening him unless I feel comfortable enough with my Ultima resources that I can green him as well, so I don't have to worry about it later on. Whenever he gets his FR, then I will do that. If not, then I'll just hold off until I feel comfortable enough to do so. So that is going to be my plans for these four characters. Seymour with his intersecting wheels is going to be dropping on whatever date it is that it's going to be happening. Seymour, as many of us already know, he did get an FR and a BT not too long ago in JP. His LD weapon, for those who are curious to know about it, his LD weapon basically gives him a follow-up attack, and that follow-up attack it is nice to it's good for Seymour, because like it just seems like with like his skill 1, his skill 2, like, you know, I mean, it has a little bit of some here and there, but like, you know, those follow-ups really add on top of what he is already doing with his attack. So, and not only that, but he actually gains additional follow-ups whenever you are, or whenever the enemy's HP is at either 80% or below or 50% or below, and they actually stack on top of each other. So by the time you the enemy's HP is below 50%, Seymour is going to be doing a crap ton of follow-up damage with whatever ability it is that you chose with him. So his LD weapons is good for him. The debuff that he does inflict onto the enemies has attack down, brave damage resist down, and HP damage resist down, and those stacks are based on the current enemy's HP. So once you get below 50%, you get the max stacks. So you get that 30% HP damage resist down, brave damage resist down, and then the 40% attack down onto the enemy. So a lot of people who are going to be pulling for him will more than likely use him more as a call ability than actually having him on the team. But of course, like I mentioned earlier, like he's going to be getting an FR and a BT and another rework later on, and he becomes much stronger. So I'm going to be throwing some tickets for his LD weapon. I'm not going to go too crazy for it, knowing that he does get a BT and an FR later on. And if I do manage to get it, great. I can use him as a call ability until he gets his future rework and his 2 other weapons. So that is going to be my plan for him. Next up is going to be alphanord. Now, alphanord, he with his LD ability and the rework that he does get, mainly his LD ability is basically going to be a debuff which has HP poison based on his attack stat. So the higher the attack stat, the higher the HP poison is going to be for that attack. Well, not attack, but the higher the HP poison, basically. So it triggers after every field turn, which is great. So regardless if it's not on alphanord's turn, it's gonna be on either your teammate's turn or the enemy's turn. Like, it's going to activate, and the HP poison can actually be somewhat of some pretty good damage, some pretty good additional damage as well. With the buff that he grants himself to the party cannot get broken. He provides stolen and gain, max brave overflow, brave damage up, and HP damage up. So I'm gonna be throwing some tickets for his LD weapon as well. Also, Waka is featured on that banner, and his LD ability is not bad. I mostly use Waka when I do have to use it as a call ability rather than have him on the team. He does get his C90 and whatnot, but like, Waka is just not the type of character that I would personally have in my team. So I would use it more as a call ability, regardless if his LD debuff is a little bit of RNG. Like, each of those 3 different debuffs within that frame debuff can still be useful. So unless you need one of them, then that's a different story. But regardless, though, on that banner, I am going to throw some tickets for alphanord's Alphanord. I can't say his name properly. I'm gonna throw some tickets at his LD weapon, and I actually don't think I have Waka's LD weapon on global or on my global account. So I'm gonna be throwing some tickets as well. In between trying to chase for his LD weapon, hopefully I can get Waka's LD weapon. So that is gonna be my plan for those 2. Next up is going to be Snow and Emperor, and there's also another character that I completely forgot to mention, which I will pull up here in a second. So Snow, excuse me. So Snow, I think I know that I'm not the only one who's going to be pulling for Snow. I mean, Snow's biggest thing is going to be from his BT, making it so that you have that strong Brave refund in between HP attacks, and it's a very good, it's a 50% increase in Brave depending on the amount of HP damage dealt. So this effect is really, really good for those characters who love or who have a lot of HP dumps within their kit. Snow's BT effect will really amp up the amount of damage that said DPS character that you are using will be dealing. So Snow's BT effect is very, very solid. A lot of players are going to be pulling for his BT just because of that nice feature. It does have party ice enchant, brave damage up, brave damage cap up. There was no max brave cap ups for those who are curious to know about that. So do not expect him to increase your total HP damage. Really, he's just there to basically make it so that your other characters, including himself, will be hitting their HP cap and whatnot. So Snow, I will be using either gems or tokens, depending on which one of the 2 I feel comfortable enough to use, to grab his BT weapon. The other BT character is Emperor. I'm not going to get too much into Emperor because I never really use him like that in JP, but from what I have seen, his rework and whatnot makes his traps much more potent, so the damage output from his traps is going to be much, much higher. So he definitely becomes a solid magical DPS unit, especially with those traps. Those traps make or the attack or the damage that you actually get from it excuse me, become much, much stronger. His BT plus does add more brave damage up and brave damage cap up, and then whenever attacking a debuff enemy, it also increases the amount of brave damage up. So at least you know that while his BT effect is active, and if he's like your main DPS unit, that more than likely, depending on how the fight goes and your team comps, you will be hitting really, really hard with those traps. So for me, Emperor, he does sound like a really solid character, but I am going to pass up on him unless like I feel, or I don't know, if I'm in the mood to actually go for his BT weapon or to green it, whichever one of the two, because I can't remember if I do have his BT or not. Then I will do whatever it is that I want to do with the Emperor. So that's going to be that. The other character that I forgot to pull up was Lise. Lise does get her LD weapon. So Lise's LD weapon, after you use the Way of the Will and Triple Threat, makes it so that you get access to the actual Triple Threat, which is not a bad LD ability. 5 HP dumps in total. The buff that she provides from her LD ability provides Stolen Max Brave Overflow to the party, Brave damage up, HP damage up, Brave damage resist up, and HP damage resist up, alongside with defense up as well. Lisa's not a bad character in my opinion. I feel like a lot of players do overlook her a little bit, maybe because she does not really like anything spectacular about her, but like I definitely see some strong potential in Lise. She did get another rework over on the JP side, and she has become much better with her future rework. So Lise, being a fan of 14, I will be pulling for her LD weapon, and hopefully I can get it because I believe she is on the Snow banner, so hopefully I can get it while I am pulling for Snow's BT. So yeah, hopefully I'll get that, but unless I use tokens on Snow's BT banner, then I'll throw some tickets for her. Next up is going to be Rajin and Kadaj. Now, Kadaj already have his LD. He does get some upgrades with his C90. He does get a rework as well. I'm not too crazy about him. I mean, he does have that gold frame debuff and a few other things as well. He does get his upgrades, good upgrades from his rework, but you know, I never really use them like that. So like, you know, for me, it's pretty much just gonna be a free upgrade. Rajin, on the other hand, is a very solid call ability, and the reason why I say that is because of that debuff that gets inflicted. So that debuff basically has a 100% HP damage down and a HP damage resist down, or 20% HP damage resist down. So basically, if this debuff is inflicted onto the enemies and all of a sudden the enemy decides, hey, I'm gonna hit you with a 70k HP attack, well, guess what? With that debuff, it's not happening. Like, you will be taking 0 damage, and that's pretty much it. Aside from that, though, the debuff does have a 100% attack now, and it also makes it so that the enemy cannot inflict debuffs onto your team, which is very nice. And I will say, and I will be pushing this LD ability, or this LD weapon ability, whatever, for players to actually pick up, because this debuff actually came in handy many times during the Shinryu era, especially when we got bosses who at certain HP thresholds, they love to try to inflict either a character or your entire team with debuffs. Well, guess what? If you have this inflicted onto the enemy, they're not going to do any of that. If you know that a boss likes to jump into the turn order and all of a sudden they hit you with a strong HP attack, well, guess what? You're pretty much safe because it has that 100% HP damage down. There are many instances that you can actually use this debuff to your advantage, and it's really an LD ability that I would highly recommend a lot of global players actually pick up, because it's actually a really good one. And again, it's actually saved my butt and has been very convenient to have in a lot of Shinryu fights. So if you're trying to like prepare, like say like call abilities, or if you're trying to prep for the Shinryu era, this is definitely a call ability that you want to make sure that you have. Normally I don't tell players to be like, hey, you really should pull for this, but like, this is one that I would highly recommend for players to pick up. So I will be throwing some tickets for Rajin's LD weapon, seeing as how I already have Kadaj. I think it would be a little bit silly to throw gems at the banner, and then hopefully I'll be able to get his LD weapon. So that's gonna be it for that. Next up is going to be Cisney. Cisney is going to be our brand new character that is going to be released with the Act 7 Part 2. Oh, not Act 7, Act 3, Chapter 7, Part 2. Cisney is a very solid character, a very, very good character with some strong follow-ups after one of your teammates or herself act. Because with those follow-ups, basically, you're going to be dishing out some very strong follow-up damage depending on what stack her overhead is at. So if her overhead is at 1, it will deal an AoE single HP attack. At 2 stacks, 2 HP dumps in total, and then at 3 stacks, you're gonna have 3 HP, 3 HP dumps in total. Aside from that, her LD ability basically makes it so that the stacks do not go down. That is what, without her LD ability, then it would be an issue because like basically like those stacks reset, and that's pretty much it. So, but with her LD ability and the Turks, not the Turks, like the shooting star, it makes it so that the stacks do not decrease. So you definitely got to make sure to snag her LD weapon, so that way whenever you are at 3 stacks, you're going to be getting that consistent 3 HP dumps throughout the entire fight. Some of the other stuff that she does provide with her Fortune Star, critical hit rate up, which is really, really good, especially for future Shinryu fights. Critical brave damage up, party attack up, party max brave up, so on and so forth. She does give herself a self HP damage up, but overall though, she is a very sought out character that a lot of players for sure are going to be pulling for. She is one that actually will be really good, especially during the beginning of the Shinryu era, because especially with the big jump of the big jump of HP that the enemies are going to be having Cisney to deal that follow-up damage after one of your teammates act will be very good to have. So I will probably throw some tickets I will throw some tickets or gems, depending on how my resources look, to grab Cisney, because Cisney definitely served me well in JP, and I feel like she will definitely serve a very good amount of global players who are going to be pulling for her. Now, some characters that were not mentioned during the community stream, but I still want to go ahead and talk about them. The first one being Y'shtola. Y'shtola, at around this time, after the release of Kyrian and what was it? Kyrian and Vaughn. She actually got a rework. Now, her rework was actually a pretty solid rework. If you take a look at it real quick, basically it makes her LD ability deal extra HP dumps, which is nice. The Afflictus Misery now does much more HP dumps as well, and it does increase party brave now instead of her self brave, based on 30% of the HP damage dealt after the last HP attack. Her Blood Lily, which is her overhead, now does a little bit more. Like the percentages of her Blood Lily overhead, basically they increased it by about 10%, so they're actually much higher for everybody to take advantage of in the party. Now they also increase with her Medica. Now it is a party HP heal based on 40% of max HP, and when it comes to her skill 1 stone ability, just like 2 HP dumps, but it now delays the target by 2 turns instead of 1. So Y'shtola, I actually decided, because I was trying to mix it up a little bit on my global account compared to how I did it in JP, if there was a free multi, and if I do manage to get Y'shtola's BT weapon, then great. If not, then I'll just take the free upgrade, because I do have her LD weapon, and she's actually a pretty solid support character for what she does offer. But of course, now that players have access to like Garnet, Ramza, Kyrian, for those who are going to be pulling for him, then I could see some players probably pass up on her, but for those who decided to green her, you're basically going to be getting a nice upgrade. Now, the other 2 characters that I do want to mention that was not mentioned during the community stream was 9 and Freya. 9 is just going to be getting a rework to his skills, so basically his rework now makes it so that he provides additional party auras. Some of the other stuff would be like, an additional like HP dump, so on and so forth. He does get a C90 as well, so his EX ability dishes out much higher damage. Just to kind of like basically just a rework over in general. So for those who do have 9, you're pretty much going to be receiving an upgrade. I already have 9, so I don't have to worry about pulling for him. And then with Freya is going to be another character that is somewhat similar to Kain, but not entirely. There are some differences between the two. So with her LD ability, of course, it does give her the instant stacks to her overhead, which grants her the ability to be able to jump into the sky. When it comes to her overhead, though, her overhead provides the party with attack up, gained max brave overflow, brave damage up, HP damage up, brave gains up, and then once it reaches 3 stacks, you get access to the descending dragon lance, which is her way of jumping up into the sky. Now, whenever you jump into the sky and whatnot, the lance ability, while airborne at the start of the next turn and on every field turn, she will deal that follow-up attack, which does deal split HP damage. She increases the party's brave based on 50% of the HP damage dealt, and also party HP heal based on 30% of the HP damage dealt. Also, when it comes to the increases the party's brave, except for herself, it is actually based on 100%, because you also got to include the LD extension and whatnot. There is some differences between both Freya and Kain. Really, Freya is more leaning towards like the supportive role, where she is healing and providing brave, where Kain is just more focused on like dealing damage, and that's pretty much about it. I myself will be pulling for Freya's LD weapon. I really enjoyed using her in the JP side, so I will be doing the same thing again on the global side. But like I said, seeing as how these 3 characters, Yustola, 9, and Freya, were not mentioned at all during the community stream, and because we do have some banners as part of the May Fair campaign that is happening on global, maybe they might appear on that, but we're gonna have to wait and see. So but yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for my pull plans for the month of May, and pretty much like the rest of the upcoming content that is coming to Global DFFOO. Again, let me know down in the comment section below what your plans are going to be for all of the characters that I have mentioned in this video. And of course, if you guys enjoyed it, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.